Welcome back to Between Two FARS. I'm Warneke Miller here once again with Michael Mark and Robert Tepfer talking about the resolution of disputes. We've spent a couple episodes talking about the importance of trying to resolve your dispute before actually issuing the required contracting officer's decision. But that's not always possible. So today we want to spend a little bit of time talking about the actual drafting of a contracting officer's final decision. Michael, Bob, what roles do the attorneys play and what roles do the contracting officer or the program manager play in the drafting of this important document?
Well, I think it's really a team effort, but the document belongs to the contracting officer, and the contracting officer is the one that should be writing it. Now, that doesn't mean that the PM and the lawyers have no role. They have a huge role because the CO decision has to go through, okay, what is the contract? What did it say? What is the facts regarding the allegations, and it's going to go through contractor allegation, contracting officer response, and the analysis of that. And so there's a lot of facts that the program folks have, and then there's a lot of, I will call editing of the argument portion, the analysis portion that the lawyers are going to have an important role in because we are setting ourselves up for the potential litigation. But I always want the CO to take that first draft. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm hands off on the document. Once I have that first draft, usually we're going to murder that thing. It's going to be just full of edits and questions and comments about, well, is this correct? Or could we say this and it would still be accurate? And, this doesn't make sense to me. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into the CO statement, and the lawyers are going to have an integral role, but they've got to remember it's not their document. It's going to become something they're going to be pinned to when we litigate, but it's the contracting officer's document. And I think Bob has a lot of experience with regard to what happens when a contracting officer doesn't really know what's in their contracting officer decision.
It's my feeling that you give them the first draft and they examine it and they go over all the facts. The fact of the matter is that there's virtually not a sentence in there that you don't have effectively a citation or a document tied to, or a paragraph even in the contract with regard to an obligation, and then subsequently perhaps documents relating to inspection or field report. Every one of those needs, it's almost like every sentence could have a tab under it, which would track and trace to it. They need to be able to do that. If they can't find it, you make them find it. The second thing is not only do they own it, but you want the program office to own it too, because you work for all of them. The contracting officer really, since they have the authority to make the decisions, but you make the program office take ownership to every sentence, and to the extent there's going to be a debate over any document that's used to support, or for that matter, sworn statement or interrogatory to support every sentence in there, you have that argument take place early on so that there are no arguments once the lawsuit begins. And since everything's going to flow from that instrument, that you can turn to the judge, you have witnesses that'll support it, documents that'll support it, that build your case. So they may start it, but you make them support it.
So this is an important collaborative effort, but the emphasis is on contracting officer ownership of the document in case they have to come forward and testify as to their opinion in court later on.
It's important that it not just be contracting officer ownership, but the program office as well. You certainly do not want to have a deposition or testimony for the board, which is in any manner inconsistent, or they simply claim they don't know.
And the program manager needs to understand what's in that CO decision as well. They can't just say, well, he wrote it, it's fine. They need to agree with everything that's in there, and they need to know what's in there because they are going to be questioned about it.
Truly a team effort. Well, why don't we come back again next time and talk a little bit more about the important considerations of long-term contract management when you're deciding whether or not to go full steam ahead with litigation or continue to try to resolve the dispute even after the contract decision. We'll see you again next time between two FARS.